So, have you looked at the housing market lately and just thought, what in the world is going on? I mean, mortgage rates are high, which should mean prices come down, right? Well, that's just not happening. We're going to pull back the curtain on this strange, kind of frozen US housing market and show you the one powerful force that explains pretty much everything. And hey, you're not crazy for thinking that. Even experts like real estate analyst Lindsay Taylor are saying the same thing. You see all these contradictory headlines, the numbers don't seem to make any sense, and it just leaves most of us scratching our heads. But you know what? That confusion is the first clue that something really unusual is at play. And really, it all comes down to this one central mystery. In a country with over 330 million people, where life is constantly changing, people getting married, having kids, changing jobs, where have all the houses for sale gone? To solve that mystery, we first need to wrap our heads around the paradox at the heart of today's market. Because the signals we're getting are completely contradictory. They seem to defy the basic laws of supply and demand that we all learned about.
Okay, so just look at this table. It lays the whole puzzle out perfectly. Go back to 2021. Mortgage rates were at a rock-bottom 3%. Fast forward to today, and they've more than doubled to nearly 7%. Logic would scream that prices should have crashed, but nope. Median prices are still hanging out near record highs. And what's even weirder, the number of homes for sale is still incredibly low. It's not a buyer's market, it's not a seller's market, it's a frozen market.
It really feels like the market is just defying gravity. But it isn't magic. There's a powerful, almost invisible force that has grabbed a hold of the housing market's gears, and it is the absolute key to understanding everything that's going on. Now, economists and researchers at the Federal Reserve, they have a fancy name for it. They call it the mortgage rate lock-in effect. But I think a much better name for it, a more intuitive one, is the golden handcuffs effect. And trust me, this is the master key to this entire puzzle. So what is it exactly? Well, to put it simply, it's the massive financial penalty a homeowner would face if they sold their house, the one with that super cheap mortgage, only to have to buy another one with a crazy expensive mortgage. Millions and millions of homeowners are basically handcuffed to their current homes by their unbelievably low interest rates. And this graph right here, this shows you the exact moment those handcuffs were locked on. For more than a decade, the average mortgage rate that homeowners had, that's the blue line, it pretty much tracked the new market rates, the red line. But then look what happened in 2022. The market rate just skyrocketed while all those existing mortgages stayed put. A massive gap opened up, and that gap changed everything. And that huge gap, that's what economists call the rate gap. It's just the difference between the interest rate on your current mortgage and the rate you'd have to pay if you got a new one today. This one simple number has become one of the most powerful forces in the entire American economy. And here's the proof in the pudding. This Federal Reserve chart shows that as that financial penalty for moving gets worse and worse, the chances that a homeowner will actually move just plummet. It's a direct one-to-one relationship. People are just making a totally rational financial decision to stay put. So just how big of a deal is this effect? Well, according to the Fed's own analysis, get this. A staggering 44% of the huge drop in home sales we saw between 2021 and 2022 can be blamed directly on this lock-in effect. Almost half of the entire market freeze is because of these golden handcuffs. Okay, so we know this lock-in effect is huge, but who is it really locking in? Is it stopping someone from taking that awesome new job in a different state? Or is it more about stopping someone from just moving to a bigger house across town? Well, the answer is actually really surprising. Researchers basically split movers into two camps. First, you have your consumption-driven movers. These are the folks moving for lifestyle reasons. Getting a bigger house, a better school district, a nicer neighborhood. For them, the move is largely a choice. It's discretionary. Then, you've got your job-driven movers. These are people relocating for a career, and their move is often something they have to do. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because this slide just blows up a major fear people had about the economy. The data clearly shows the lock-in effect absolutely crushes local moves, the ones for a bigger backyard, shown there in blue. But now look at the red line, the one representing long-distance job-related moves. It's almost flat. This means all those fears about the lock-in effect hurting the labor market, they seem pretty overblown. People are still moving for jobs when they have to. Which brings us all the way back to the biggest question in this whole paradox. If borrowing money is so expensive and so few people are moving, Why on earth are home prices still so high? The logic is actually super straightforward when you lay it out. Step 1, the lock-in effect puts those golden handcuffs on existing homeowners. Step 2, because they're locked in, they don't list their homes for sale, which completely starves the market of supply. And step 3, this rock-bottom supply meets a steady demand from people who have to move for whatever reason. With way more buyers than sellers, prices just stay high. Simple as that. And look, this isn't just some theory. This chart shows it happening in the real world. The Federal Reserve actually found that local markets that were more exposed to the lock-in effect, so places with more people who had those low-rate mortgages, they saw significantly bigger drops in the number of homes for sale. The lock-in effect directly choked off the housing supply. So, what does all this mean for you? For anyone out there trying to buy or sell a house right now? Well, it means we have to stop waiting for the old market to come back. We are in a new normal. Analyst Lindsay Taylor has the absolute perfect analogy for this. That crazy market in 2021 with the frantic bidding wars and the super low rates, that was like winning the lottery. It was a once-in-a-generation thing, and you don't expect to win the lottery every single year after that, do you? So here's the big takeaway, the thing to remember from all this. The housing market isn't broken. It's actually functioning exactly as you'd expect it to. It's just operating under a completely new set of rules, and those rules are dictated by the golden handcuffs effect. Low inventory and stable, high prices are now a feature, not a bug, of this new reality. And that leaves us with the big, forward-looking question. If millions and millions of homeowners are locked into these low rates, what could possibly break these golden handcuffs? Will it take a huge, dramatic drop in interest rates? A massive wave of new home construction? Or will it simply take years of life just happening, forcing people to move no matter what the cost? That's the billion-dollar question that's going to define the housing market for years to come.